Welcome back to another episode of the Second Look Hockey Podcast. As always, I'm your host, David Leo. As always, I'm joined with my co-host, Cristian behind the camera. We got producer Mando. Producer Mando's in a bit of a state today, so we don't know. He joined us for the whole award show episode, so we might get him to jump in, but I don't know. It sounds like he wants to stay more behind the scenes. He had a great night last night. Cristian, how has your week, your night, whatever you want to talk about, how's life been for you over the past week?
Life's been good, Davo. Busy on the sports side. Like, it feels like there's just been like everything all at once. Like, this is that weird time of the year where you can get like the Toronto sports equinox. You can get Raptors, Jays, Leafs all on the same night. And honestly, in the past 2 weeks, we've had two occasions where they've been able to sweep the Toronto sports matchups on the night. So shout out to Raps, Jays, and Leafs for doing that a couple times. But yeah, week flew by. Went out last night too, but did not go to bed before midnight. I got home at a comfortable time because I don't know. I guess I'm already an old man, bro. Like I'll be home at 11:30 and I'll go right to bed. I don't know. How about you?
No, dude, I worked yesterday. I was I finished work, came home, took a quick shower, and I was starting to make some notes for today because I had a little bit of a busy morning. I went out for breakfast with my girlfriend and her family for her birthday. So that was a great time. I had to wake up a little bit early for that, so I was like, let me get my stuff
What did you have
prepared.
for breakfast?
Okay, so I had we went to Pure and Simple. Have you been?
Yeah, I think I've been a couple times. I don't remember when the last time was. It might have been like a year or two now, but honestly, dude, all the breakfast places like in and around us, like you
Just
can't really
crazy
go
good.
wrong.
Crazy good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Pure and Simple, I have to say, was very good. It was very busy. Like when we got there, it
Okay.
wasn't as busy. It was like oh, it's like 10 o'clock on a sorry, like 9:45 on a Saturday. I was like, oh, I would
Yeah.
expect it to be a little bit more busy. That's like a trendier spot as well. And then by the time we like sat down, everybody sat down and stuff. By like the time we were eating, dude, that place packed out. There was people like out the door waiting. I was like, holy heck.
Fair,
Um,
fair.
yeah, so what I get? I got like some scrambled. My typical things are like eggs. Typically, I'll go scrambled eggs. Sometimes I'll venture and get
Same.
like sunny side up. I don't mind a nice sunny side up once in a while.
Yeah, me too.
I had some bacon, sausage, ham on that. It was like it was called the Canadian breakfast. And then you could take your pick of getting like a pancake, a crepe, a half waffle. So it's like one of the waffle halves that are cut
Belgian
into.
waffle, a thick
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I know
Yeah,
that's a Christian Chiniti
it's a
right there. I
it's
know
a
you would have taken that one.
you
And
know
then
what? I'm honestly like when I go out, like a chocolate chip pancake is really
yeah,
tough to turn down, bro.
yeah,
What'd you go with?
100%. I went with regular French toast, but like so my girlfriend's
French toast is great.
brother got
Oh,
one with it had like strawberry. It was French toast with strawberry banana and like a chocolate hazelnut spread on, and it had like
ooh.
almost the same stuff that was on my plate. I was like, oh, I kind of made a mistake here. The next time I come back, I gotta
Yeah.
get that because that looked
See,
awesome. It was
that
so
that's
good
it's not even you made a mistake. It's like, yeah, you have to go multiple times to get a
to try everything.
full experience, man, right? I'm
If
gonna bring this up now just because we're talking about breakfast, and I
yeah,
remember I
go.
saw this like a couple days ago. Okay, I saw something online where they're basically like, when you have, let's say, toast with anything spread on top of it, jam, peanut butter, Nutella, whatever, they're like, we've all been eating it wrong this entire time. The way you should actually eat it is upside down because your taste buds are on your tongue. So if like I've got a bread with a piece of Nutella on it, right?
Okay,
Like not a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sandwich, like just
yeah.
spread on
Just the
a
one
piece of
piece.
toast,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that you know what? Like if you're eating it regular, like how we always would,
Dude,
like the
I
Nutella
had it
goes
like
on the
this.
roof of your mouth, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah. Or like peanut butter.
but you,
Peanut butter is
yeah.
notorious for just getting stuck in
So
the roof. Yeah.
yeah. So now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, that
Huh.
actually makes a lot of sense.
But I'm
I
trying
might
to
have to
think.
try it.
I'm trying to think like what. Like I feel like that's messier, but I guess not because if you're holding it right side up or you're holding it
Yeah.
upside down, it's the same
Doesn't
thing because you're holding it from the crust, right?
exactly. Yeah. So this is
Oh,
the thing though,
damn.
is I have to try this in the safety of my home
Yeah, no,
because
I'm
if
not
you
taking
did
that
this
out. I'm not.
exactly, you do this in public, you can't.
So,
You
yeah,
can't.
I genuinely think if you did that in public, they have the right to
Yeah.
throw you out.
Unless like until like there's a segment on CP24 with like
Yeah,
some type of breakfast expert
a
who's like,
breakfast
"Ooh, you
guru.
actually should do this."
What if,
Yeah, that's what I need, and
dude? What
then
if
we can do it
we're
in
the
public.
breakfast guru? What if it's
Okay,
me and you
okay.
taking that to CP24?
So can we be a guru if we've never tried it yet?
That's true. That is very true.
Okay,
You know
tune
what?
back in a week and we'll be
Yeah,
gurus,
I
or
was
or
just about
maybe
to
we'll
say
be
this
fakes.
week. This week we're gonna try that out 100%.
Yeah. Sorry to derail off the top, but
Oh no,
we
it's
go
all
on the
good.
topic of breakfast, so I thought that was funny to bring up.
I love breakfast. But yeah, sometimes I'll venture out though and I'll do an omelet. I like a good omelet
Hmm.
sometimes. You an
Yeah.
omelet guy?
I'm more if eggs are in the deal, it's usually like you like go
Scrambled.
to a scrambled, and then I do dabble with some sunny side up. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay. So the
that's usually my
extent is
go-to.
the extent's sunny side up. You're not
Yeah,
dabbling in the omelet realm.
not really. I like eggs as part of the meal, but not like the main
The
feature.
main
You know,
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
personally.
I feel it.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
That's not bad.
yeah,
Dude, you honestly cannot go wrong with breakfast. It is so hard to mess up a breakfast. And when it is messed
yeah,
up, that might be the worst thing. Like if you have like, I don't know, like soggy egg or like eggs that just don't taste good. I have
yeah.
another question for you. Okay. When you get your like what is your potato of choice? Are you a tater tots guy? I've seen people do what's it called, like shredded hash, basically, like
Yeah,
you're a
okay.
hash brown guy.
Yeah,
What are you?
yeah. I I think I am mostly tater tots, but like there's like a time cutoff where it's like if it's really early in the morning, it's like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Usually potatoes don't feature too much. Once you hit 11 and it becomes like brunch territory, that's when the potatoes get more involved. Personally.
You're not potatoes before like, dude, I could be potato
Yeah, I
guy
don't
at 8 a.m., 8 p.m., dude, any time of the
yeah, I don't
day.
know.
Oh,
Hmm.
dude,
I
I'd
okay.
love them. Really? That's
Okay.
crazy.
I, question for you.
Okay, go.
What
Hit
were
me.
you eating for breakfast last Sunday at roughly because this is assuming you slept in very well. Okay, so
I
it's a
don't even
12
remember what I did
p.m.
last week.
Well, I'll remind you of this. Some guy by the name of Alex Ovechkin scored in a matinee game.
Oh,
So I don't know if
so
you had brunch
I
that
will
day
tell
or
you, I was not having lunch. I was not having breakfast. I was working lunch. I missed
okay,
it, dude.
yes.
I missed that.
So
I was so
that is where I wanted to
upset.
go. Like, yeah. So paint the picture for you, and then I'll paint my picture.
Okay,
So
so
what
I
did you
mean,
get?
my
Was it
my
Twitter
picture.
notification? Someone told you what
No,
happened?
it was. I think it was you guys. Honest, I think it was in
Oh,
this
okay.
chat where it was just like I felt the buzzing in my phone. Maybe it wasn't like it was like the multiple chats, and I felt the.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
typically I keep my phone away from me because I'm working with like flour and cornmeal and like all these toppings. So like there's a high
Yeah.
chance of like the flour like coming into my
Especially
pocket and stuff.
especially if you like have like a case and then it gets stuck like in the
It's stuck
sides of your phone case.
inside
So
100%. So that's why I try to keep it away from me. But on that Sunday, just for some reason, I had it on me, and I go to check my
yeah.
phone, and I'm like, oh, dude, why did he? I was upset that he scored it on the Sunday because I was like,
Yeah.
I was gonna be home. They ended up playing was it the Canes for their next home game that
Thursday.
week
Yeah.
on the Thursday, and I was like, I was so prepared for that to be the game where it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
good for everybody in Long Island or all the Caps fans that traveled to Long Island and spent upwards of like to like $2,000+ to
Yeah.
see it, because like
I did see a lot of people, not a lot of people, but a couple people bragging on Twitter where they were like, whenever the schedule came out for this year, they were like, book it. This is going to be the day he scores the goal. I'm going to be there. And they would retweet it and be like, I told you. Like, I feel really good for those people that
wow,
bought
the
Isles tickets
like
at the start of
6
the
months
year
in
and just
advance.
nailed it. Right? They just
and
nailed it. They did
and they
not pay
definitely.
$2,000.
Yeah, I was just about to say you're not paying like because I
Yeah.
know entrance tickets the day of it was like 2 grand at minimum, 2 grand
Yeah.
US. Like,
Yeah.
dude, we're in
Oh, yeah.
Canada. That's like at least $3,500.
Yeah, dude. No. Insane prices, bro.
Ridiculous.
Same
But
as same as you though. I was at work, literally sharpening skates, and feel the buzz of my phone. It's like Frank Cervelli, Elliot, like 895, 885,
oh, love.
895. That's all it was. Immediately, as soon as I finished that pair of skates, just went to the back. I'm like, I need to watch this
To watch
right
the thing.
now.
I
So
went to
outside of the
back.
timing,
I went to the back
yeah,
as
okay,
well.
you
I
did
was like,
same thing. Okay.
I need to just see the reaction. Like I literally couldn't care less like how the goal went in. Honestly, at that point, I just wanted to see like the reaction, and the reaction
Yeah.
did not disappoint. Like that was awesome.
No. So okay, let's go chronologically here, and just in case you live under a rock, Alex Ovechkin scored the NHL all-time goal-scoring record goal, 895 against the New York Islanders last Sunday. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. They did talk about it on Second Look Sports, but we got to react to it. It is the Caps' first and only goal of that game. I believe they were down 2-0, I think, at that point. And Alex Ovechkin within the blue line, maybe 5 feet into the blue line, top of the circles. Not a patented Ovi clapper.
Yeah,
it's
not a
lock and
1-2
load wrister from range.
Looks like he kind of. It looked like he kind of dragged it as well. Like I don't think he had a good grip on it, like on the stick, and that's
he had to lock and load.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then paint a picture of what goal goes in and what does Alex Ovechkin do, brother?
Like I don't know what I was picturing for the record celebration, but as soon as it happened, he turns around and he's like he's skating toward, or like whatever. He's basically running. Like he's not gliding.
He's going to center ice.
He's chopping his feet and he's going to center ice, and he just does a Michael Phelps dive onto the ice. And did you catch the mic'd up as well?
You know what? I actually don't think I've watched the mic'd up. Oh my god.
The mic'd up one is so so good because like you could it's because it's in his clothing, it just sounds like he's like like it's like very
apologies
like,
to everybody's ears.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I did that. It's like very muted. But then when he gets up and all the guys are around him, all you hear is record.
Nice.
Nice. Like, that's really what you guys are gonna chant record at center ice?
I love the all the photos of like that moment, because as soon as he hits the ice, he wears his helmet, I guess, pretty loose. Like his visor is completely covering his eyes.
Yeah.
Like you don't see
That's probably why he went to the ground, because he was like, I might hit somebody.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just like you can now, like, I don't know, maybe it actually looks better. Like all of the paintings that are going to happen, and he was given a painting for breaking the record that was super cool looking. But in 20 years, when you have like the mural in Capital One Arena, if it's still
outside,
called that,
outside
the statue, okay,
yeah.
Right? Is it gonna be like, you got to be able to see his eyes? Like you now either have to frame him as if he's like in the air, maybe. I don't know. It's just I saw all the photos I saw. I couldn't find a sick photo that a photographer took of him like midair. All of them were once he hit the ice, and it's just weird seeing him with no eyes.
Yeah, so now that also makes me think, when they commission the statue that eventually is going to be put on, and is like as commemoration for the goal, are they gonna use an action shot, like will they use a one-timer shot, or will they use that celebration of him like sliding on the ice? Like for example, like Bobby Orr, his statue outside of the TD Garden is him with one leg in the air, scoring probably his most famous and one of the most famous goals 100%. In NHL history. Like I wonder if they use the patented one-timer. Do they use like the lock and load, like with him kind of dragging the shot, or do they use him on the ice? Like I don't know. Like
they really can't. They can't go wrong. Which is, I feel like they probably consult him, or they better consult him, so that you don't. Honestly, that should be a policy ever since the Cristiano Ronaldo statue. Every single statue, and I guess like you want to make it a surprise, but.
I mean, listen, I think
no.
Listen, like Cristiano didn't expect, like Ronaldo didn't expect one statue.
They didn't have to. You're right. Down. Like they didn't have to consult Cristiano Ronaldo and be like, "Hey, your face. Like, can you describe your face to us?" Like, no, they just messed it up.
Or just
like this is the pose.
People.
Yeah, or just
No, you're
anyways,
right. You're right, 100%.
I don't know. Like I feel like they'd probably go to Ovi and just do what he wants to do. you could have him with 2 beers, like he had when he got back to Washington later that night. I'm
Dude,
sure he
he
would love that
had
too.
a great party, 100%.
Yeah,
That bands that make a
yeah.
dance, Juicy J, Lil Wayne, 2 Chainz blasting all night. I know that 100%.
Oh yeah,
Some of the best videos I've seen now on TikTok have been the edits for him in the tunnel, and he's like, bands that make a dance, and it's like you got the music going on in the background, and then when the beat drops, it's
yeah,
him, his one timer, him like his celly. Like I saw one where it was like him with the hot stick celly, and it was like,
oh yeah,
like with the song going on in the background. I'm like, oh, whoever made that cooks. Like put
yeah.
that in the oven, and that thing's got a nice golden brown. If that was a pizza, that'd be a perfect pizza.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
I've got one last thought
Yeah.
on the moment. I'm okay. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and this is not going to be Debbie Downer, but my singular qualm with everything, outside of it also being the matinee game, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
Singular qualm here. What is the quote we take away from that day? Because I don't know what it is, other than the play call, which for sure was awesome. I just wish that maybe Ovi dropped an incredible one-liner, or that Gretzky dropped an awesome one-liner that we'll have forever. I don't know what the quote is that you would take away from the moment. And so I thought to myself, I'm like, what is the quote that you take away, I guess, from Gretzky breaking Gordie Howe and hitting like 802? And you know what? I don't know if there was one there either.
I don't.
There's Gordie saying that records are made to be broken, and that's
Yeah.
been said over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's that. I don't know what it is from
I
895. Do you have anything?
No. You know what? I'll push back against you here. I don't think words can even put in like a into focus just how special that moment was. Like that's
Yeah,
20
without
years
a
in the
doubt.
making. I think the moment itself just needs to like be alone. You know what I mean?
Sure. And I
Like
will
it's
say too, like I said, the play call, like, it probably is that goes on. Like the
yeah.
chasing days are over
Hmm.
is probably the line
That's a
that
good one. I
we
mean,
remember, right?
that's something, but it's like this is 20 years now of chasing, right? Like
Yeah.
10 years ago, nobody, like everybody kind of had it in his, even he didn't even expect. Like there was that, I saw multiple times that clip of him with Frege. This must have been pre-COVID because he still
The
kind of had like,
2016 interview where he says that he doesn't think he can do it, right?
yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was like really convinced, and a lot of people up until this year were convinced that it just wasn't going to happen. I mean, everybody kind of in the back of their mind had to have thought like, if he got this far, he's gonna at least try to go for it and probably end up getting there. But yeah, I think the moment itself, this is like in a moment like this is it's so much more different than like if we're thinking like famous quotes, what's more synonymous with like the NHL than like Marc Messier calling the win before I believe it
Yeah.
was game 5 or game 6 of their Stanley Cup Finals. He's like, we will, or he's like, we will win, like we'll
It's the
win
guarantee.
this.
It's the game 7 guarantee
And he's
against
the
I think
one
it was
that
against
scored.
Jersey, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he's the one that goes on to score. It's like that moment in particular, like you need somebody to kind of galvanize, I guess, the troops. But I feel like in this moment, the troops are already galvanized around him, and for that moment, he's kind of just celebrating with everybody. So
Sure.
I guess
There
that's
definitely doesn't have to be a quote. Like I said, this is an absolute nitpick of an awesome moment. That was, I don't know, it was just something that came to mind there. You got anything else on Ovi, or else
no,
can
I mean,
go on?
I guess we could maybe just touch on like the ceremony. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of like ceremonies during the game, but I guess if it's a
It warranted
once
it.
if it's a once in like this is now going on 30 years that the record was held, I guess if it happens every 40 years for something just truly remarkable,
Yeah.
um I guess I've never been a big fan of like just stopping the game altogether, but I guess for this moment it's like whatever.
Yeah.
I'll put my pride aside for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
everything else
I
I
was
think
okay
just
with it.
everything was done. It's been planned out. They've known what they were going to do. So at the very least, it doesn't seem like it was like kind of forced or whatever. Like
Yeah.
everything was done in a very like honoring way from Gretzky, and honoring
Yep.
now Ovi's legacy and his family and everybody was there. So I did like to see that. So you know what? Maybe that's just me.
I've got one last thing here, super, super quick. I saw a lot of stuff about how Ovi basically tries to have as much memorabilia, game-used memorabilia from teammates, opponents, as much as he possibly can. He's been trying to collect. And we saw Ilya Sorokin gave his stick to Ovi because Ovi asked for it after the game. It's the only goal that Ilya Sorokin's let in on Ovechkin. What a time to let it in, right?
Yeah. And for him to also thank him, he's like, "Thank you, brother. Thank you for letting that one in." I thought that was a nice moment.
Yeah, I don't know when this first was said by him, or maybe it wasn't even mentioned directly by him, but he's planning to have a museum when he retires in Moscow, with basically just everything that he's collected over the years. I really hope that he has all 800, and it won't be 895 sticks because lots of multi-goal games in there.
Even pucks.
But I really hope, the pucks too, but I really hope he has every stick from his career, because that would then be a shrine in hockey history that you'd almost feel like you'd have to make a pilgrimage at some point to go visit that. I honestly think that would be
just for the evolution of the sticks alone, across 20 years, how much have they changed?
And whatever art display they decide to they'll turn it. It won't just be here's 800 sticks. It'll be some cool.
You know what I want to see is you know what I want to see as well. His I want to see if he kept childhood sticks, stuff from when he was a youngster growing up in Moscow. 100%.
Yeah.
If he's collected his stuff in his professional career, he's definitely got some stuff from his time back overseas as a youngster. On that note though, so we're talking about one Russian phenom who's dominated over the last 20 years. Now maybe we talk about another Russian phenom. There's going to be a few of them coming through, but one of them was greeted at Pearson International Airport in Toronto. Is it Ivan or Ivan Demidov?
I think it's Ivan. Ivan. Yeah.
Ivan Demidov, he was, I wouldn't say mobbed, because I've seen larger mobs for players.
Yeah.
He was greeted at Pearson Airport by Habs fans. Would it have been on Wednesday? When did that video come out? Wednesday, Thursday, this past week, we'll say.
And he was seen practicing. He's made it. He's at Scotiabank Arena. He's been practicing on the ice now. I don't think he's supposed to play tonight, which would have been awesome. 10 out of 10, awesome.
It would have been awesome, but I'm there, so maybe not.
Yeah,
I will be in attendance. Hopefully not.
I'll take David Lee over Ivan Demidov for tonight. I think I'll make that for tonight. Let's do it. Yeah. Listen, dude. Habs fans we're already uber confident / just enjoying this year. They are still in the honeymoon phase with their team, and I think after this year they would have moved out of it. Mm-hmm. But to have this late season surge, and they've quite literally been, I think, a top 5 team in the NHL since Four Nations, which, it's crazy. So I think they have as many points as the Leafs over this stretch.
I think of all the teams that, I forget now if it's in the top 10 or top 7, it's 3 or 4 of them are teams from the Atlantic with the best records since the Four Nations break, including the Leafs as well. It's the Leafs, the Sens.
The other team is it's Tampa and Ottawa. So I've got it here. So okay. It's quite literally because we talked about this. I think it was last episode. The Central, or maybe 2 episodes ago. It's the Central and the Atlantic basically dominate the top 10s. It's Blues at 1, Golden Knights at 2, Stars 3, Montreal 4, Leafs 5. This is by point percentage. Abs 6, Kings 7, Jets 8, Lightning 9, Sens at 10. So you got 2 Pacific teams in there. No Metro teams, actually. No Metro tems in the top 10. So, I don't know. Take that for what you will. But, Ivan Demidov, listen, I said this before we started recording. We're going to talk about a bunch of prospects here. And I watched highlight packs on each of them before starting here. And I'm not about to proclaim that I'm an expert on these guys now. I'm definitely not. And especially because everybody says. You watch a highlight pack. It's just the offense. Like, that's all I'm looking at. I'm not about to tell you how good Ivan Demidov's 200-foot game is because I haven't seen it. Not exactly easy to find.
Apparently, it's not the best. It's better, but it's not the best. That's for what I've heard.
You can say that about a lot of like super young guys. I'm only gonna judge on the offense. I'm only gonna judge on what I got a chance to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some player comps just based on what I watched, and I know that those are like flashy. They don't always, they don't usually at all really relate to anything. But yeah, brother looks really damn good. Like really, really freaking good. Like if I had to pick a player where I'm like, okay, I see this guy in him, there is the Nikita Kucherov deception. Like very, very deceptive. Like you cannot tell if he's about to make a pass, a shot. Just his stick handling is insane. I'd say the stick handling actually because he's not small. If I had to guess, he's probably 6 flat.
He's mid-size. I think they list him at 6'1".
I'll check, but it's Bedard level stick handling. The shot on Bedard is a bit whippier and like a little bit more involved. Like Demidov's a little bit more straightforward of a shot. But he's that good. He is that good. So I looked at basically the latest that we had from a lot of the outlets put out the top players or like top NHL affiliated prospects or the under 23 ones, right? So I took a look at those. Craig Button's top 50. He was number 1 on NHL affiliated prospects. Scott Wheeler's top 100 drafted NHL prospect rankings, he was number 1 on that, and their most recent versions of each of these. And then in Scott Wheeler's also like the top NHL players and prospects under 23. This is Corey Pronman's who's got this under 23 list, not Scott Wheeler. Anyways, he is 16th there, and that was, I think, from February. If you asked me if Corey Pronman was writing this today, think
top
he'd
5.
be a lot higher than 16. So I wish as the Toronto guys here that we could come on and say Habs fans are overblowing it. They're not.
I'll let them have it.
Good.
We'll let them have it.
He's really damn good.
I mean, listen. We saw all the hype for Lane Hutson, and man, defensively,
eating some of our words.
Yeah, he might not be there defensively just yet, but man, offensively, he is a dynamo. Listen,
I will still say it's funny how I read an article recently. I don't remember who it was, if it was Arpan Basu or I don't remember who it was, but like this is an article from like I think a week ago, and they still mention the head fakes and the head bobs that we talked about in the first month. They're like, there's not a lot less of these. They'll never let that go. So I'm glad that got to. Maybe not Lane's head, but the Montreal fan base, they'll never forget when we talked about the head fakes.
The head fakes per 60 were off the charts. In October, oh man.
Clip this for when the Leafs lose to the Habs in the first round on a Lane Hutson head fake goal, and the pod's done after that. But
I mean,
listen.
Once.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have much more to add because like I said, I could not find much I didn't like in those highlights. We're gonna see when he plays. It sounds like maybe Monday. Yeah. He's gonna be gross, and I have a feeling it's gonna be basically right away. Like you remember, like I
know. Keep going. No, I was just gonna add some stuff that I also got on him as well.
The only thing I wanted to bring up is I remember from the 2021 series that we tried to hide in the back darkest corner of our head.
Yeah, it's out of my mind right now.
Yeah. So if you really go back there, and it's tough, you'll remember a very young Cole Caulfield was very good against the Toronto Maple Leafs that year. Despite all odds that Dom Ducharme put against him of just being a bad coach,
just not playing him,
Cole Caulfield still found a way to be really good.
Yeah,
Ivan Demidov, he's gonna be good in like the next week.
100%.
It's just going to be like that. So,
if
you're Chicago, I don't know what to tell you because that's the last thing I'll bring up here is, my God, they could have had Demidov. And
I mean, Levchinov is okay. Like, I see everybody kind of down on Levchinov. Like, why do we have
it's
to
not
denigrate...
that it's all relative. You're right. Like, we don't. You're right. He's really good.
Yeah.
But like, I can look up where Levchinov is on these lists, and he's not
top
number 1.
Yeah,
you cannot be.
But what if
Yeah,
he was number 2? Like, is that big of a
that would be
deal?
fine, but he's
You know what I
not.
mean? But he's not. I get it. No, I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hate kind of tearing down like this guy's these guys are 19, like tearing down
yeah.
another guy.
I will.
I guess that's kind of just the reality of being a fan. I think
Yeah.
Levchinov is fine, but yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Is for me it's like, is it a glaring obvious miss? Like, okay, maybe if Levchinov isn't world
It's a miss for all the
beating,
teams. Like it's not just Chicago. It's a miss for
there's a
everyone
few
who
teams
didn't
in front
like
of them.
that bad, right?
Anaheim
Yes.
Anaheim took Beckett
Yeah.
Seneca in front of him. Like,
Speaking of that, I don't know if you read, or actually, I think this was. I don't know if this was on the pod for 32 Thoughts or in his written blog, but Elliot Friedman revealed this week that the Montreal Canadiens were in talks with the Anaheim Ducks to acquire Trevor Zegras at last year's draft, and it was dependent on what happens with Ivan Demidov. As soon as they called when Anaheim was going with Beckett Seneca, they nixed the trade, and it was supposed to be the pick they used on Michael Hage, which I think was 16, and a young defenseman. People suspected Logan Mailloux. So let's say 18 and Logan Mailloux for Trevor Zegras was the deal. But because Demidov fell to them, they felt that having Zegras was going to be redundant. Apparently, Ken Hughes is not about redundancies. So yeah, so that's something that just came to light. So I'm pretty sure it was it Trevor Zegras or was it Pierre-Luc Dubois that was on a boat in Montreal with Caulfield like right before the draft? Do you remember this?
I don't.
We know that Zegras and Caulfield are really good friends, so I do remember seeing one of them because like the talk was, you know what, this actually might have been when Dubois was traded to LA. Maybe that's what I'm getting confused with.
PLD.
Everyone thought that he was going to go to Montreal.
Well, because that was
either way. Zegras and Caulfield, very good friends.
That was the thought, right? For almost a year, I just kept hearing it was going to be PLD to Montreal, and that also kind of hampered. Oh well, I guess it was
Montreal. I think just wasn't interested. Like they were just like they were interested if he was good.
Yeah, which he wasn't,
and they were just yeah.
I mean,
so
sure. So you
anyways,
mentioned
you had some
the Kucherov comp. One big thing is like, so on his playmaking senses, for a 19-year-old, he's got like very, very nifty one-touch passes, forehand and backhand.
Definitely saw that.
There was one that was like, I guess it was on power play where he gets the puck and like within a split second it's off his stick and it's to a man wide open in front. So my question is, I know, okay, like, listen, like, Kucherov is already doing that type of stuff, but, like, maybe that's going to take a little bit more time with, like, adjusting to the smaller ice. Like, how long did it take for Kucherov to be Kucherov and, like, some of those other...
A lot longer. It took until that year, remember the triplet line with Tyler Johnson and Andre Palat and him. It was 2015. They went up against the Red Wings in the first round. I think that was the year that Stammer... had the blood clots.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't. This is when I first was like, oh my god, like Kucherov might be the best player on this team. Was that series? So they had no Stammer, and they had to rely heavily on Kuch in that series. And even that year, I think he had like 60 something points, right? And now you look at him, he's on pace for 100. He's almost at 120, right? Like, and this is 2 years in a row.
Yeah. So that's my thought. It's just like with. Like,
I think he's more developed than Kucherov at a younger age.
Okay,
is what I'd say. I'd say if you're comparing 19-year-old Kucherov to Demidov's ahead of track right now. But I'm not saying that means that Demidov's ceiling is higher than Kucherov. Kucherov's ceiling is he's been a top 5 player in the league for the past 5 years. So, yeah,
I know. It's something to get excited about 100%. And also, so I got this from Jason Bukala, and he says, so his defensive side does still need some work, but it's mightily improved in his D+1 year. It's still a bit unpolished, but should he jump into the lineup, he shouldn't be a liability. Like he's got the senses down at least. Like there was a play with him as the winger. He's like, he makes good reads, like getting in front of shot blocking lanes, like just putting his stick out in front. Like he wasn't doing that before. Sometimes he got kind of caught out of position. But he shouldn't be a liability for the Habs. So now I got the thought, where is he going to slot in that Montreal lineup? So right now, obviously, you have your top line of Slavkovsky, Suzuki, and Cole Caulfield. Does he jump on to the second line with like a Brendan Gallagher, Christian Dvorak, and they bump Josh Anderson down? Or does he play on a line with like Patrick Laine, Alex Newhook? Does he drop down to the fourth line? Like, where do you see him fitting in?
I was just looking right now to see if they've got anybody really out of significance, and it's Emil Heineman, who I actually don't remember. I think that was the crash. He was in a something. Yeah, I think he was in like a car crash.
A
or
car
whatever
crash.
that came
I
up
think
with,
you're
right?
right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So I'm looking here. It's honestly, dude, this guy has to play in the top six. You tell me this guy's not leapfrogging Oliver
Josh Anderson?
Kapanen, right?
Oh,
Yeah, Josh
Oliver
Anderson, like.
Oliver
Yeah,
Kapanen's
so I'm looking
there,
on
yeah.
Daily Faceoff here. He's on there. Oliver Kapanen's on their second line right now. He's got 2 assists on the season. I don't know how many games played that's in. So, I don't know if you'd want Demidov in line. Maybe you would want him on the same line. He has to be in the top 6, but maybe you're changing whatever the machination is to try and give him some more defensive support, right? He's a left shooter who plays right wing, which is exactly what Patrick Laine does, so maybe that isn't the fit there. This is the one thing I'd say, like, Montreal's been doing a great job of just getting a bunch of super good, young, high pedigree guys, but Caulfield, Patrick Laine, and Demidov kind of all occupy similar, like we talked about Ken Hughes not liking redundancies. I'm seeing a lot of redundancy there, so I don't know if you can put together a line that you're like, here's your playmaker, here's your sniper, here's your two-way center. Like, I don't really think they can do it.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to find like what the perfect fit is, but the thing is, like, he'll figure it out, honestly, with whoever he plays with.
Yeah, I think that's gonna have to kind of be what happens. I could see him maybe playing alongside like an Alex Newhook, maybe. Is he?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, is Montreal is still. This feels like a conversation that we've been talking about since, like, I don't know, 2016. Like, get another center.
They need a center, yeah.
Yeah,
or
unfortunately,
like
Alex Newhook has not been 2C level
like
player.
It turns out that Nick Suzuki looks to be like a proper.
Oh, he's been fantastic.
So I think you got that sort, because that was the big thing, was like, could Nick Suzuki ever make that jump to being a 1C? I remember those questions even when he was drafted, or when
I always talk about,
right?
like, for me, it's like there's so many players that can fit on a first line that you wouldn't necessarily say are first line players.
Yeah,
because you have to couch it with, like, Nick Suzuki can, like, this is what the conversation was, and I think it's changed. It's like Nick Suzuki can be a 1C if he's the third best player on his line, like that type of deal. I'd say right now he's the best player on his line.
Probably, yeah.
Koltovitz 2, Slavkovsky 3.
I would
on that line right now.
I would even argue it's like 1A, 1B for Cole, but like Nick's been fantastic, but. Yeah, no, 100%.
But you now feel so comfortable saying, like, if Nick Suzuki is the second or the first best player on your first line, there's still a way that works, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, listen. Yep.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I was going to say last thing about Demidov, like, where all the hype's coming from. I mean, most points by a teenage player in the KHL for a single season, with 49 points in 65 games, which is ridiculous for KHL numbers, like, considering they play in like the league's not as high scoring, like the players don't get as many points. Do you know some of the players in the top 10 of that stat include Kirill Kaprizov, Matvey Michkov, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Pavel Buchnevich, all of them in the top 10 of that stat. So, I mean, listen, if he's beating out guys like that, there's certainly a talent in there, I would say.
Yeah, the one thing I'm trying to find is, it's worth mentioning, not to take away too much, but I think Kaprizov and who was the other player that's in that top 3 there for points? I think they played less games. Like, they hit their marks in slightly less games. I think the point per games is still, like, pretty comparable, so it's not like he really blew the record out of the water. At the same time,
Well, it
Definitely
would have
don't have
been
this on me.
would have been Mitchkov. That was number two because
Yes,
he broke
okay.
that
So
record
I think
last
I
year.
think both of those players did it in less games. However, the other thing that matters too with the Russian guys, which yeah, I don't have it on hand, but like time on ice per game because they get like yo-yoed around
Yeah,
ridiculously.
he was
So,
averaging about 14, is what they were saying. And sometimes
which
it
is
was
like
like
dude's gonna average. I would not be surprised if in a
20.
playoff game he's yeah, I think on average in the playoffs he might be at like 16, 17,
Yeah.
no problem. So yeah, that there is that. Yeah, he's the best guy we're going to talk about today. But you mentioned like there's other Russians.
We could go to
Um,
his teammate in
yeah,
heading
yeah.
to Carolina, Alexander Nikishin. I think we brought. Why did we bring him up? We brought him up recently on this podcast. I honestly couldn't tell
I
you
think
for
I was
what.
just bringing up the fact that like we had Leonard sign with Washington. We didn't know if Demidov was coming over. This was kind of a surprise. But Nikishin, we were talking about on the way because of the Mikko Rantanen trade and how basically
That's
this
right.
isn't the end of the world for Carolina because they've got an absolute embarrassment of riches and
They didn't
prospects.
have to give up
Yeah.
Nikishin. That's right. That's what it was.
Yeah. And then listen, the thing with him too is he's not really a prospect of sorts because he's 23 years old already. He was the captain of his team. He actually wasn't on Craig Bunnan's top 50 prospects or the Athletics top 100 drafted prospects because he's already aged out of that. So he
Yeah.
doesn't even count. So he's developed. He was, this is the top 50 players under 23. I don't think I've got the right ranking here because it looks like I have him at three. He's not three. But listen, really good, really good. I'll give you the like kind of my impressions of him. I'm just gonna pull up his hockey DB to give you his stat line on the year. But yeah, with St. Petersburg SK this year, he had 17 goals, 29 assists for 46 points. That's actually lower than he's had the two past years. 56 points last year and 55 the year before. But like these are really good numbers that we're talking about, all while being the best player on the team. Like just their number one guy. So I watched this highlight pack, and like I said, this is just like the offense that I'm talking about. He reminds me of like an Aaron Ekblad slash like Jacob Chikrin. Like to me, those are two guys I already compare with each other, and Nikishin kind of fits in there for me. He has an absolute bomb. He can walk into one and let it rip, and just in and out of the net before you even notice. There was multiple goals in the highlight pack where the ref did not realize the puck was in. Like that's how fast it comes off this guy's stick. So he can one tee it. He can get on a power play and be a one tee option. But he also like can sift it through from the blue line, that type of stuff. But he jumps into the rush. He's kind of just like a do it all type of guy. Like a Victor Hedman, but without like Victor Hedman's size, right? So
Okay.
downsize him a bit. To me, it's like to me it's like Aaron Ekblad if he was consistently
Russian.
healthy. Yeah, but consistently healthy. Yeah, it was. What was our very first episode? Which we were changing the names
Oh, changing
of
the
everyone.
names. Yeah.
What's Aaron Ekblad's Russian name? Aaron
Ekbladov.
Ekbladov, right? Yeah.
Ekbladov. Yeah.
So Nikishin is Ekbladov. Okay,
Ekbladov. There it
that's
is.
what I would say.
Uh,
So
I got
yeah,
this from so I mean you've got high praise for him. So does his general manager in Eric Tulsky. This is from the NHL website. Eric Tulsky said that Nikishin has all the tools to be an effective all-around defenseman. He can play a physical game. He's a ferocious hitter, and he has the ability to manage and close gaps, which makes him very effective on the defensive side. And then offensively, he sees the ice very well and can make plays, and also to boot has a strong shot. So he's like what is that, a five-tool defenseman? Does he have all five tools
yeah,
there?
the baseball term,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I'm telling you, like he is a number one guy. He will be a number one guy, and because he's 23 years old, it's not going to take long at all. He's a lefty shot, so like you already have Jacob Slavin,
Mhm.
you already have Dmitry Orlov for one more year, but I don't know, like you can really put him. I think they're
Would it
like
be
this
so
guy
bad
is
to
another guy. He's
shelter
gonna have
him a
like a
little bit?
24 minute. I think just to ease him in the lineup type of deal, but they're already talking about like they want to play him as soon as they can. The only thing that's stopping Carolina from playing him in the regular season is visa stuff.
Visa. Yeah, yeah.
That's it. That is literally it. If you were asking me, I'll save this until we get through everyone, but
Mhm.
like he is by far of everyone we'll talk about the most quote unquote like NHL ready just
For
by
sure.
age and like the type of game he plays. And I said he doesn't really have Victor Hedman size. Brother's 6'4".
Big dog.
He's
220
he's a
as
big
well.
dog.
That's
He's a big
a
dog.
big boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
Russian meat there.
Carolina
100%.
they've already been excited. I would honestly say like you want to talk about fan bases that hype up their prospects the most. Carolina might be like they're very high there for me. Like anytime I see Carolina people talking, they can't help themselves but bring up, we've got this guy and that guy and this guy.
You
And
know what? They're typically
they're
right
not wrong.
too.
Yeah,
They're typically
yeah,
right.
that's the problem. That's maybe why it pisses me off and why I remember it. But
Yeah.
same deal with Montreal. So the rich get richer here, Dave. God damn
They
it.
do. I guess we could stick to defensemen. We've got
Yeah.
Buium also. He looks to be on his way. You've got a stat here that he played 51 minutes, 41 seconds last night. How come? What was that all about?
Frozen 4 action, right?
Okay.
And I think I went to double OT here.
I was going to say,
I think they only.
If brother played 51 minutes in just 3 periods, I'm going to say, do they not have were they down to 3 guys and he was just short shifting double shifting?
It's funny you say that because they actually were only playing 5 healthy defensemen, I believe.
Oh, to start the game, they played 5?
I believe so, or they either lost the guy really early. So in overtime, he was not. They were already down, but still, dude, that's an insane number.
That's ridiculous, actually.
Insane number. So I watched his highlights. There's sometimes where it's like. Sources say good.
Good.
He's really freaking good. So, sometimes you want to make a comparison that people haven't thought of. Where you're like, oh, that really makes me think. I didn't think about that guy. I can't do that here. So, everyone just says Quinn Hughes. He's Quinn Hughes. And I'm not saying that lightly. The guy is that good. That good. I think his highlight pack is probably the one that impressed me the most. Just relative to, I guess, what I've seen, because outside of World Junior play, now I don't know if you remember, he had an absolutely insane saucer pass on the gold medal winning goal in OT for the U.S. to Tony Stiga.
He was electric against Canada. Oh man, I remember him against the Canadians. I was like, oh my god, why is this guy American? Please, God.
Yeah.
Thank God he's not in the Leafs division either. So
thank God for real, bro. Thank God, man. So he's 6 foot flat, 19 years old. Quinn Hughes, I believe, is 5'10". His numbers blow Quinn Hughes's in college out of the water. Past 2 years, 41 games played, 48 points at U Denver. Last year, 42 games played, 50 points. So
that's so crazy. That's ridiculous for a defenseman.
Yeah. This is another one. This is part of why I wanted to talk about this today. All 3 of these guys so far, no holds bars. These guys are instantly going to be the best players, some of the best players on their team. Not the best players, but some of the best.
Yeah.
Zeev Buium is going to have a game this year where he plays half of what he played last night, not 51, but he'll have a 25-minute night in the playoffs, I think.
Oh, okay.
Honestly,
really?
I'm telling you that this guy is that good. They already had a guy who was a Calder finalist last year, Brock Faber.
I was just about
He's
to say,
better than Brock Faber.
Adding a Zeev Buium to Brock Faber led and just their defense, their actual core, their core of defense, they've got to be. I would argue probably they're top 10 for sure. I would argue close to the top 5. If they're not in the top 5, they've got some good pieces there. Jacob Middleton's there.
David Jiricek was out for the year.
Yeah,
and that's another guy. And he hasn't shown it yet, but
right?
Yeah.
Imagine if they get all 3 of them, Faber, Buium, and Jiricek all firing at one point. That's ridiculous.
If I'm Minnesota, and so he hasn't signed yet, but Bill Guerin on local radio has already talked about, and he hasn't signed because still in Frozen 4. He's going to sign by Tuesday. I think that's what they've said. The championship game is tonight.
Yeah.
I would put him with Faber. and I would just run
Let
those
him
guys
run.
for the next
Let him fly.
15 years, and
That,
like they
it's
legitimately could be one
ridiculous.
of the best pairings in the NHL.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
So
definitely by far. Like I said, like that's the guy who's impressed me the most out of those highlight packs I watched. I was just like, oh my lord, this
in
guy is insane.
in terms of like NHL readiness, though, you are still gonna say like Nikishin's probably gonna be just in terms of like age and like experience. You think like he's gonna be the one to kind of hit the ground running, or will
Yeah,
Zeev,
yeah, we can talk about it now because these are the three. Like these are the big three.
Mhm.
And you know what? Maybe we throw like
Ryan Leonard,
there's a couple guys who I'd already signed exactly. Like let's maybe throw Ryan Leonard in the discussion.
even Jimmy
If I'm
Snuggerud
doing
as
like
well.
these, Jimmy Snuggerud too, yeah. There's so many names. I would probably go, and this feels like a cop out because it's honestly you're just ranking them by I think their age at this point. But Nikishin is definitely number one for me. I think Buium is number two,
Hmm.
Demidov three. Leonard might be four because Washington likes to roll their lines. And I think he's actually the most willing to like sacrifice his game to just kind of like be a cog in the wheel. Like
To
brother scored
tour
his first goal.
on
How did he
empty
score
net.
his first goal?
Yeah.
And how happy was the dude,
Well, dude,
right?
he was the probably. Well, I mean, there was some happy people in the stands of that for that game, but that was on the chase. That was Alex Ovechkin had 894, and everybody was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
let Ovi on the ice." Little did we know that he told Spencer Carberry, "I'm not going out with the empty
And
net.
how did
I'm
Ryan
not getting
Leonard
that
score
goal."
that goal? Like he was a dog on that shift. Like
Oh yeah,
right, that faceoff happens and it's like instant. Ryan Leonard's like, I'm scoring this goal right now. I don't care. This is my
100%.
first NHL goal. Did not give a crap on an empty net. And so honestly, looking back, like I read into that this guy, like he just wants to win. That's a just wants to win guy.
Love it.
So yeah, like those are I'd say. You know what? I'm not even gonna say big four because to me, I'm gonna talk really quickly about one more name, Zane Parik, who's gonna. It sounds like I think he is gonna suit up for games now that Calgary's. I think they're mathematically eliminated,
Yeah,
right?
I've seen his highlights, man. He looks to be like the real deal as well.
Yeah. So I honestly was struggling to come up with a direct comp. I'm gonna give you what Craig Budden told. Or there was a. Yeah, it was a media hit that he did. I don't know specifically where it was, but I remember he said Erik Karlsson is the name for him. Difference is like Erik Karlsson's a bigger dude.
Hmm.
The shot, like I see though, like I do see like the Erik Karlsson type of shot. So I don't have a great comp off the dome for Parik, but if 30 goal seasons back to back as a defenseman,
That's
like
ridiculous. Like that's man. I've seen game like he played for Saginaw, right? Torched the
yeah.
Steelheads in one game this year.
Don't worry, they weren't alone,
Yeah, I know they
right?
weren't alone.
You had
That's the scary
company.
part.
The one other name I'm gonna bring up, that I wanted to talk about somewhat is Artemi Gritsuk. So this guy is probably like the least known of any of the names. He's 24 years old. Also played on or St. Petersburg SK with Demidov and Nikishin. 44 points in 49 games. He's a New Jersey Devils prospect. He was drafted in the 5th round in 2019. So it's been a while. It's actually been like so long that he can't sign a regular entry level contract. He can only sign a 1 or 2 year deal. And I think it's if he signs this year, it would be a 1 year deal, I think is how it would work. Anyways, there's a reason why he isn't signed yet, and he might not get signed this year. Under the option, or like let's live under the hypothetical that he did sign. One of the things I wanted to talk about is these 4 names: Demidov, Nikishin, Gritsuk, and Leonard. Those 4 guys are going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to go up against one of the other guys. So right now, our locked playoff matchup is Carolina versus New Jersey. So you can have Gritsuk versus Nikishin if he does sign. And then we're looking right now at Montreal versus Washington as the likely matchup there. And that one is really, really, really exciting. Because those two, like Leonard's right there. I know I said that maybe Nikishin is the most ready, but I think that matchup could be really, really interesting. And then these are other names. When Dave gets back here, we'll talk about Isaac Howard. I'm gonna just list off some other names where I was like looking into, and just to kind of flush out the point that this year, it feels, maybe this is just feeling. This is no stats on this one here. It just feels like there's been a lot of high pedigrees prospects signing end of year. Jimmy Snuggerud, who we mentioned, who's got into games. I think he's already got 2 assists with St. Louis. Zane Perrick, we mentioned. The other Montreal guy who had Demidov not signed, we're talking way more about, is Jacob Fowler. He's their goalie prospect. He's probably the number one goalie prospect in the NHL right now. Drafted third round in 2023, 69th overall. He's been incredible at Boston College. 2 years ago, 926 save percentage. This year, 940 save percentage. And he's probably not even getting a sniff this year because they don't have to.
All right, now we're going to move on. We've got one more prospect to talk about, and it seems like Tampa's 2022-23 draft pick, Isaac Howard, is a 2022 draft
2022,
pick,
yeah.
is going to be
first overall, last guy in the first round.
He's going to be heading back to MSU, to Michigan State, for next season, which means he's going to be still unsigned. He could, if he remains unsigned, though, heading into next August, he will be a free agent. So I don't know what the Lightning are, what they're up to right now. It's not great in terms of like their prospect pool. If you're a Lightning
this
fan,
is a guy they hit on after a Stanley Cup final. Actually, was this after 2022? Would have been, I guess their final against the Avalanche, right?
It would have been just
Maybe
after
this was
the Cup runs. Yeah.
So they were really leaning on this guy to come through because, like you said, there isn't too much. Isaac Howard, he was on Spitting Chicklets, and this is what he had to say. I just feel like with me in Tampa, I guess we didn't see eye to eye the same way I thought we would. It wasn't a situation where I was demanding to step right into the NHL. It wasn't anything like that. It just didn't necessarily work out, and coming back to MSU is unreal. That is the quote. Unpacking that, it's hard not to think immediately to like Rutger McGroarty. That's kind of where my head goes. And you can go farther back too. Like you can even go to like Adam Fox, Jimmy Vesey. Like there's been a lot of these before, but his is the most interesting because he talks about it wasn't demanding to step into the NHL right away. Do you have any idea what the argument here or the not even miscommunication, because this is just set in stone and just sounds like they're not on the same page. Why aren't they on the same page, Dave? Like what could it be about if it's not playing time in the NHL right away?
Well, I mean, that would be my only guess, right? Like,
yeah,
they have a good chance. Like plays at forward. They have 6 of their 12 currently on the team, at least signed till for the next 2 seasons, and then that drops down to 5 after that, with Kucherov being up for extension in 27-28. But those other 5 guys are also locked up for till at least 29-30. So another 2 years after that. So you've got at least half of your forward core locked up for the next 5 years, let's say. Like there's not a lot of room to play. So I don't know. Is it ice time? Like is he that concerned about, or are they that concerned about having him start in the bottom 6? Like I don't know.
It's a really weird one to me. He won the Hobey Baker this year, and just to put in perspective, I'm gonna list off last 10 years in terms of Hobey Baker winners. So Isaac Howard last year, Macklin Celebrini,
Pretty good.
Adam Fantilli in 2023,
Pretty good.
Dryden McKay in 2022. Do you remember anything about Dryden McKay? Because if you don't, I can tell you something. Leafs signed him.
Yeah.
Never heard of him since. 2021, 2021 Cole Caulfield.
Pretty good.
2020 Scott Perunovich. So there's right now we have listen, he's an NHLer, but we're gonna call that a miss. And we'll call Dryden McKay the 2 misses so far. 2019 Cale Makar,
Pretty good.
2018 Adam Gaudette.
All right.
You can call that a miss if you want.
He's a player.
Yeah. Will Butcher, we'll call that a miss. He had a cup of coffee. Jimmy Vesey 2016, like another one, right?
Hey, another
Jack
Leafs,
Eichel 2015.
Another
so
team
those are
that the Leafs signed. Another guy, Jimbo Greasy.
Yeah,
gotta love him.
But dude, like we listed some names there that are like without a doubters. Without a doubters.
It seemed like they were either big booms or big busts, right? Like it's either boom or doom for that list, right?
Yes. I watched the highlight pack. He's the guy I was least impressed with. Here's the caveat. It was mostly last year's highlights because those are the ones that you actually have a pack for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's improved this year, right? That's part of why this is such a big deal. At the 2024 World Juniors as well, he had 7 goals in 7 games for US. So, like, he's got pedigree. He's got pedigree upon pedigree. Last year at Michigan State, he was a transfer from Minnesota Duluth. But in 2023-24, he had 36 points in 36 games. This year, he had 52 points in 37 games.
26 of those are goals, too.
Should also mention, exactly. And you know how many goals he scored the year before? 8.
Yeah, well.
So that's a hell of an improvement. I don't know if it's...
he won the Hobey Baker over Zeev Buium
He's won the Hobey
Brian
Baker.
Leonard?
He has won the Hobey Baker.
That's I'm not gonna say it like I don't know about that because I don't watch him enough. But with the numbers that Zeev was putting up and like he's still in the Frozen Four, like I don't know. I don't know if that's a bit of a miss for me personally. Like I feel
he's 21 as well, so he's right. Like he's older.
Yeah,
bit older. So he, like. Even Elliott said it's more likely that he doesn't sign with Tampa in general right now.
Wow.
So we're talking...
That's quite
this
a lot.
was yesterday.
I also have a stat for you in terms of Tampa draft picks or lack thereof of draft picks. So, Cristian, there's only one player right now since the 2020 draft to be a regular presence. So somebody who's like regularly in the lineup. There's only one guy. Do you know who that is?
Wait, you're saying one guy like in the entire NHL from the 2020 draft?
That is currently playing for Tampa that was drafted by Tampa. Because they have picks.
2020,
they sent them over as well. But still currently playing on the team.
A 2020 pick. Without looking at the roster, and he's a regular like okay. Anyways, I'm just gonna take a guess.
Games.
Let's go with the one and only Lilleberg.
No, it's actually Gage Gonsalves. So I don't think Lilleberg is. So this is since the 2020 draft, and Gage Gonsalves was a 2020 draft pick.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you when Lilleberg was drafted. Like I'm just throwing the dirt at the board there.
One of the only players on the team right now to have played over 100 games, still regularly in the Tampa Bay lineup, is Nick Perbix. He's got over 200 games played, but he's a 2017 draft pick, 6th rounder. He's one of the only players that is currently playing regularly for Tampa to have played at least 100 games for the team.
I mean, you got to have draft picks to draft players.
Yes, 100%.
Right? Like that's, yeah. So
I mean, that's the cost of success, right?
Them.
Like we know it.
Yeah. They were definitely like hoping a lot on Isaac Howard here. I'm going to be very curious to see what the hell caused this. I'll also be very curious to see what the trade would look like. Like I think you would just automatically look to, I guess, the Cutter Gauthier trade.
Yeah.
Right? Like I guess that's the comparable, or else like I'm saying like the Adam Fox stuff. But I think Isaac Howard's pedigree, even though he's a Hobey Baker winner, I don't think he's a smaller forward. Like I think he's 5'10". And like I said, I watched the highlight pack, and I'm like, this game feels the least translatable to the NHL of like all the prospects we talked about. But like, he's still gonna command an absolute crap ton. Like, it'll be a first plus something for
sure
for him. And then that's honestly might suit Tampa better. It really
just getting some like resources back instead of like maybe turning one player into like three could potentially
Yeah.
help supplement. Like even if they turn out
drafted
to
him
be
31st overall. So if they get a first round pick that's higher than 31st overall, they've already got more than their money's worth.
which it
Anything
most
else is
likely
gravy.
should be, right? Like
Yeah,
you would
yes.
expect.
I think yes. Yeah. So this is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to talk about a guy who is playing in the minors. He's not exactly a prospect.
Rookie? Yeah, a
but
prospect. Yeah, I mean, so it was all over my feed yesterday. Gabe Landeskog back on the ice playing a game with the Colorado Eagles of the AHL. It's his first pro game in 1,020 days, going back to Game 6 of the 2022 Cup Finals, which him and the Colorado Avalanche won, with him being their captain. Dude, honestly, I'm happy for the guy. He doesn't live that far from both of us.
I did know this.
Yeah.
I think but that's interesting, right?
So
it's just like such a weird
funny story.
thing.
I've got a family friend, my godmother. Her brother is neighbors with Gabriel Landeskog.
They're gonna tell me they are Gabriel. No, I'm kidding.
I know Gabriel Landeskog. Yeah, that is my cousin actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
no, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Shout out to
the cousins.
confirmed Gabriel Landeskog I'm kidding, does not have the passion. But no, like, dude, this is a crazy story. 1,000 days in the making, like you said. I don't have any goddamn analysis on his game, tell you that. Like, it's just a be happy for him moment. That's what it is. I don't know how happy the guy was that he had in a chokehold in the AHL. Like, just
poor guy.
You're that guy, you're like, oh, like, which one of these other plugs that I'm playing against has me here? And then you're like, my God, that was Gabriel Landeskog. Proudest moment of that guy's AHL career. Actually, I don't know who it is. So maybe it's a prospect. I don't know. Anyways,
I have no clue. But
yeah, that's
he was bullying that guy, and he put him in a rear naked chokehold. Poor guy.
I'm ready for Gabe Landeskog. He's gonna fill in for who's Randy Orton supposed to fight at WrestleMania that can't now?
That's a good question. All I know is
that'd be a really good way to test out your knee fast is to go to WrestleMania. Yeah. The one thing I found interesting is the guys who were in attendance. One of these names does not feel like the others, if you ask me. Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Josh Manson, Andrew Cogliano, Ross Colton, and Chris McFarland were in attendance. You know, now that I read it, there's actually multiple options that you could guess as the one that I think is not like the others. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Well, obviously, my first guess was Chris McFarland because he's the general manager. Those are all former players.
That's fair. That's fair. Not who I was thinking of.
Maybe Andrew Cogliano, just because he is retired, I guess. But he played
also
with him
fair.
Enough. Played with him
exactly.
For a bit.
So who's your number 3 option?
Ross Colton's not on the.
No, he is on.
He's on the now. Yeah. Well, I guess he wasn't there for that. He was on the opposite side that year, right?
Exactly. So that's a really interesting one to me. It's not when you really think about it, it makes sense because it's not like this is Ross Colton's first time seeing Gabe Landeskog. Brother's been practicing at the Avs facility, rehabbing this entire time. So I'm sure they got to know each other, but it's really funny to think that
he's also been around the team, I think, for at least the past year. Like even like
that's what
not
I'm saying.
doing
like
on ice activities. Like he's at least
I'm sure he's
ice.
Just like his day to day. Like he wants to feel like an NHL player.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like that's what you would want.
I mean, listen, that's the captain of the team as well. Like he's got the respect of everybody on the room. Like whether they just came onto the team this past year or they've been like Nate Mack on the team for the past decade. Like that's 1 and 2 in terms of like abs over what, since 2010, let's say, right? Like so yeah, no, but you are right though. It is a bit surprising to see, and
it's just
also
funny
to be the guy. Like Ross Colton was on that Lightning team that they eliminated as well. Like it's another thing to be like one of the teams maybe that they played early on or whatever. Like it's
Ross Colton and Gabe Landeskog have not suited up in an NHL game together, and the last game that Gabriel Landeskog played was against Ross Colton in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's funny. It's interesting.
Very true.
Yeah, so that's all I got. I know that you had a thought or two to pull out of this, though, about this Gabriel Landeskog return when it comes to the Avs and who they might be facing in the first round.
Well, I mean, listen, the Dallas Stars this past week blew a 3-goal lead in the final minute of regulation, which is frankly, like, quite literally unheard of. That's never happened before. Right now, though, so I'm just going to check the conference standings here. Dallas sitting at, they have a lot more points than I thought they did. They're at 106 points, 79 games played, so they have a game in hand over the Avs. Avs right now at 80 games played, 100 points. Okay, so actually they cannot physically catch up to them anymore. But it was getting close there. There was a bit more of a spread between the two. But maybe this is going more into the future. Like that's probably going to be the first round matchup. Dallas, they blew that lead. Colorado, they're starting to get a bit hot.
That lead against Vancouver that you're referencing, Vancouver. Right? The 3-goal lead in less than a minute. First time ever, I think that's been done. First NHL team to do that, Vancouver.
Ever.
Hilarious to do that in a season where you're not going to make the playoffs. That's a very mid-2010s Leafs type of thing to do. So shout out to Vancouver for that.
It's always about the Leafs, guys. Don't forget. But yeah, okay. So they're not going to catch up to them in the regular season. But man,
okay, what's your pick right now? That series, who are you picking?
Dude, I'm going with the Avs still, man.
Okay.
Like the Avs have been there, done that. Like that's a team that knows. I love the makeup of the Stars. I really do. But no Miro Heiskanen. Their defense right now is Esa Lindell playing still. Like I know they're down.
I'll pull it up for you. So first pair, Thomas Harley and Ilya Lyubushkin.
Oof.
Second pair, Esa Lindell, Cody Ceci.
Oof.
Third pair, Liam Bixel and Matt Dumba. So
and Matt Dumba,
the left side.
I've heard a lot of Stars fans, especially after that game, are not happy with Matthew Dumba. They think he is potentially the worst defenseman in the NHL, which is saying a lot when your team.
And they just came from the guy that they thought was formerly the worst NHL defenseman, Ryan Suter.
Yeah,
that's the funny thing too.
They're praying for Ryan Suter back right now, honestly.
Yeah, dude. Well, yeah, he's going to be making the playoffs as well with St. Louis. So, their left side is fine, and the left side will be more than fine if and when they get Miro Heiskanen back, which sounds like not the start of the first round. It might be great in the middle of. Yeah. So, listen, I get it. I think we saw this in, I believe it was 2018 when the Leafs played the Bruins that first time. They targeted one side of the Leafs defense because they knew it was weaker than the other half. It was our right side because I think it had Ron Hainsey, Nikita Zaitsev, and don't even know who else. Might have been still, hope not Martin Marincin. Jesus Christ.
That's my guess is Marty Marincin.
Connor Carrick, maybe? I don't remember.
You know what? I think Connor Carrick is the show because my next guess would have been like Roman Polak, but I don't think he was there.
Either way. I know the left side at that point would have been Morgan Riley, Jake Gardner, Jake Muzzin. Wouldn't have been. I think we had them for that one season, all three of them together.
Yeah,
so
that was the year that they got Muzzin.
I know which side I'm picking if I'm another team, right? So maybe you have a scenario where that happens here. I think the thing with Dallas is more than any other team, I feel like I noticed that they reach another level when the playoffs start. I really do believe that. And it's kind of one of those scenarios where it's like I'm going to have to see that not happen for me to believe that's going to be the case this year. So I am still sticking with them. But...
So my other big qualm though with them, and I think I brought this up to you before, is I'm not a big fan of Pete DeBoer as a coach. He might get some regular season success. I don't know if he can elevate a team to their full potential. So a team like this current iteration of the Dallas Stars, and they have been over the past couple of years, I don't know if he can get the most out of all their players, even though you did mention that they do tend to elevate. I think that with another coach, they might get even more out of the guys that are on the
Okay.
ice, and I don't think Pete DeBoer is that guy. He's had a track record of ultimately falling short in San Jose, in Las Vegas, and now in Dallas. Like, he's always kind of been
It's
always a
fair, dude,
bridesmaid,
that
basically, right?
I did have this thought recently where I was like, we talk about like the Leafs as the next version of, and you can't reference the Capitals anymore because they were the. It all goes back to the San Jose Sharks, man. Those poor San Jose Sharks is the team that everyone references as best team this century that didn't win a cup, best core: Joe Pavelski, Joe Thornton, Logan Couture, Patrick Marleau, Brent
Brent
Burns,
Burns, Marc-Edouard
Erik Karlsson,
Vlasic,
and for a point there,
yeah,
right? Like, yeah. So
Anthony
that's the
Niemi,
team
and
everyone
yeah,
looks
the whole
to.
team.
Yeah. And for a short period of time, like we said, Washington was the next one. The Leafs are definitely that team
they're
right
there
now.
now, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but sneakily, Dallas Stars haven't got it done. And they've been really good now for half a decade,
Man,
since the bubble.
They got to a cup final with Rick Bowness, and then since then, every year
Haven't looked back.
It's always been like, okay, maybe this is Dallas's year to kind of take it. And when did Pete DeBoer get there? He must have got there the year that they got rid of that Vegas got Bruce Cassidy, right? And immediately they won a cup with Bruce Cassidy behind the bench with relatively the same crop of players, right? It kind of seems to follow Pete DeBoer around a little bit.
It's interesting. And so you brought up Vegas there. This is my last, and I won't go too deep dive into this, but I think we're really starting to forget about the Vegas Golden Knights in this entire, Stanley Cup playoffs thing. They feel like they've gone under the radar now. It's been a lot of Pacific talk, and everyone's talking Winnipeg, Colorado, Dallas. Vegas.
You know who went under the radar? You know who also went under the radar? The 2023 Vegas Golden Knights, and guess what they did? They won a cup.
They might have lifted the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean,
if you're,
it's tough. No, it's tough in the West, man. Like, as much as we want to talk about well, for the most part, it's the Central, right? But there's a couple sneaky teams in the Pacific, like. LA is not going to be easy out this year.
Like, whoever wins that series, if Edmonton beats LA, this year it's a 50-50 series. If Edmonton beats LA, we're going to think differently of them because they showed us that they're still legit.
Yeah.
And if 100%. LA does it, we're going to say they slayed the dragon, so they're more legit than we've ever thought. So no matter what, you're projecting that second round in the West, you're feeling like you have 4 legitimate Stanley Cup caliber contenders.
100%.
No matter how you slice it. Right? Unless like St. Louis beats Winnipeg or Minnesota.
But even if St. Louis does it, like, would it be that shocking considering how hot they've been? Like, they've done this exact thing before too, right? Like,
yes.
It is
and the one thing, so I referenced since February 22nd, since the end of Four Nations, best teams. Number 1, St. Louis Blues, 792 win percentage. That's 38 points. Number 2, Vegas Golden Knights. 717 save percentage. Number 3, Dallas Stars. So it's funny how we just went around the league and picked the 3 teams that have been the best for the past month and a half.
Listen,
I'm really excited now.
I don't know if I'm glad to be if I'm glad that the Leafs are in the East and avoiding those 3 monsters, but we've got monsters of our own. In the East as well, at least in the Atlantic, right? So
the Leafs' biggest monsters themselves. That's
what
I. That's
they
what
are
I'm.
The
so
monsters in the closet.
In all this talk of who should the Leafs play, is Florida tanking? Would you rather the Battle of Ontario or the Leafs and Habs? I've kept on saying I do not give a crap because if the Leafs lose, it'll be because they lost to themselves, not their opponent.
Yeah,
because we know they're capable of beating any of these teams, and Florida's the one that's got now the demons in our head. So we'll leave that discussion if it ever comes up in the second round, whatever. But yeah, that's. I don't want to get into Leafs because we'll be doing a lot of it next week, playoff preview time. But I think I'm all exhausted, Dave. This was a good pod, man. I got lots of thoughts out there. I feel like we both did. You got anything left?
No, honestly, I think that's it. But like you mentioned it, if you made it to the end of this video, stay tuned for next week. We're gonna have our playoff prediction preview episode is probably going to be a long one as well, so bear with us. We're going to have to get through both conferences here. We're going to have to get through, 8 matchups in total.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, it's going to be a long one. But if you did make it to the end of this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the Second Look Sports channel. Don't forget to follow our socials, which are in the bio of the channel as well. You can find our personal accounts, I think, also on there as well if you want to follow us. Let us know in the comments. You know what? This week, let us know who you think will make the biggest impact of all the prospects that we mentioned, or if you've got a prospect of your own that you think is going to be coming up at the end of this year or even heading into next year, who's somebody that you're excited about, let us know and give us some reasons why. But on that note, we'll see you next week.